Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Akila Liana binti Muhammad Azian. My metric number is 2017937425 and my student ID is S23. I would like to thank both panel for giving me these opportunities to digitalize my proposal presentation entitled The Effect of Carbohydrate Migraines on Intense Intermittent Exercise Performance in Varsity Athlete. This presentation will include some introduction to the topic, problem statement, research mechanism, and I will discuss the methodology section in depth that will cover research design, data collection protocol, sampling technique, instrumentation, and I will end my presentation with data analysis technique that I choose. Okay, first of all is the introduction. Previous study by Brooke et al. 2011 have stated that an additional carbohydrate into the active musculature is profoundly important because it enhances the body potential to fuel exercise. Brooke also stated that replacement and restoring glycogen content during an exercise is essential for upholding optimal performance and achieving early recovery. Carbohydrate can be ingested and rinsed because carbohydrate digest start from in mouth. During intermittent cycling, some studies such as Rollo et al. 2015, Harvage et al. 1984, Murray et al. 1987 said that carbohydrate migraines or CMR increase performance in exercise capacity that have been reported. However, not all investigations supported this link of CMR improve intense intermittent exercise performance. This led to my study's problem statement. Carbohydrate ingestion exerts its result by retaining blood glucose concentration, maintaining carbohydrate oxidation under certain circumstances, and delaying the depletion of liver and muscle glycogen. However, some athletes are rigid to ingesting carbohydrate solution and gels during exercise because of gastrointestinal distress, as stated by Burners 1991. And the other option, other than ingesting carbohydrate, is carbohydrate migraines. Moreover, to our knowledge, there is lack of published investigation in regards to physiological effect of carbohydrate migraines toward varsity athlete in intense intermittent from 60 to 90 minutes exercise performance, even though the previous study have been proved that there is beneficial of carbohydrate intake for 60 to 90 minutes of exercise performance. Furthermore, there is contraindication result toward the effect of carbohydrate migraines to the intense intermittent performance, and further study is needed. So, the mechanism of carbohydrate begins from the tongue. Sweet stimuli, example glucose and artificial sweetener, are detected by taste receptor cells known as G-protein coupled receptor protein T1R2 and T1R3 that take place on the tongue. These receptor cells release neurotransmitter named alpha-gasdacin that is detected by primary afferent nerve fiber terminals, which send information to the brain stem. And then the brain receives the information. The brain will release the insulin, increase fuel supply, which is glucose, balance the excitation, and inhibition of the brain motor cortex may be altered in factor of excitation, which can improve the running speed. This proves that carbohydrate can digested start from the tongue and may enhance performance. Recognizing this gap of study, there is a need for an investigation to look at the effect of carbohydrate migraines on varsity athlete population toward physiological in intense intermittent exercise. Therefore, my studies aim that to determine the effect of acute carbohydrate migraines on intense intermittent exercise performance, distance covered in yo-yo intermittent recovery test level 1, VO2 max performance of the varsity athlete, heart rate response, lactate production during and after exercise, glucose level in the body. This study is expected to benefit a number of stakeholders, including researchers who can further and advance our study. And others, the functional understanding of carbohydrate migraines effect on a physiological response could become a therapeutic target to combat inflated knowledge in the varsity intermittent athlete population and also the coaches. Using this study, the varsity intermittent athlete and coaches can develop dietary strategies that could better enhance physiological performance. Furthermore, the knowledge of carbohydrate migraines on a physiological response in intense intermittent exercise performance will help develop future evidence based on sport nutritionists. Now, the next part is the methodology part. Considering the requirement for my subject to receive a different type sweetener as an intervention, so this study will employ through experimental research design. Specifically, this study will use randomized double-blind research design to find out the effect of carbohydrate migraines and placebo to a varsity athlete. Using the data from a study by Nicholas et al. 2015 as an indicated by a sample size calculator G-Power, a sample size of 14 varsity athletes would suffice to detect the effect of carbohydrate migraines and placebo to the physiological response on varsity athlete toward intense intermittent exercise performance. However, to account potential dropout, we aim recruit a total of 17 participants using a purposive sampling method. This is the journal that I use to calculate my sample size for the study. Okay, moving to the instrumentation of my study, the first one is measuring testing. Testing that will be used for this study is LIST, which is Laborer Intermittent Shuttle Test, and Yo-Yo Intermittent Recovery Test Level 1 and stand for YIRT-L1. In the list, it consists of 4 blocks which involve 60 meters of running at 95% of VO2 max, jogging at 55 VO2 max for 60 meters, 60 meters of walking and maximum sprinting for 20 meters. It requires 15 minutes of work and 3 minutes of rest, and it takes 5-minute rest before start the next test, which is the Yo-Yo Intermittent Recovery Test Level 1. And it consists of 2 times 20 shuttles separated by 10 seconds of recovery interval. Every level, the speed will increase in 0.5 km per hour. This is the diagram of my study that will be conducted. Every area indicated migraines intake, blood glucose, blood lactate, heart rate sample that been taken. Okay, so the black area symbolized as the carbohydrate and placebo intake that been taken after warm up and during the first 3 seconds in walking in list test, expecting that carbohydrate have an optimal effect to the athlete. Green area indicate heart rate reading. It will be taken before and after warm up and after finish the testing to monitor the increasing number of heart rate before and after testing. And the blue dotted area symbolized as an blood lactate sample being taken, and it take place immediately after list and after Yo-Yo Intermittent Recovery Test to monitor the lactate that have been produced from the body with or without carbohydrate migraines. And the red area is the sample of blood glucose that been taken before and after testing to indicate blood glucose level in the body with or without carbohydrate rinse. The testing begins with warm-up for 10 to 15 minutes and rest 3 minutes before performing LIS and yo-yo intermittent recovery test. And the test will be finished with a cool-down session to avoid injury. This procedure of testing that been done by the James 2011. There are 2 rinse in total that involved in this study, which is carbohydrate rinse and artificial sweetener that known as placebo. The carbohydrate rinse are used is sport drink. The solution is 25 milliliter with the 6% of concentration. It takes 10 seconds of rinsing before spitting or aspirating. Artificial sweetener is almost similar to the carbohydrate rinse. However, the solution is non-caloric sweetener and called as stevia. It also 25 milliliter of stevia solution. Rinsing will be taken after warm-up and during the first 3 seconds during walk in LIS. Okay, so this is the reliability of my instrument used. The first one is finger prick blood glucose analysis that will perform using the Sanwa glucose meter. The glucometer have coefficient of variation of equal less than 7.5% according to Dolan 2012, and the blood lactate analysis will be performed using the lactate plus meter with reliability of 0.94 according to Jacinta et al. 2015, and the heart rate will be monitored by wireless telemetry named ActiHeart with the reliability of 0.99 according to Brage et al. 2005. So this is my data collection procedure. Participants will be screened inclusion requirement, which include intermittent athlete that train at least 3 times per week, free from injury, pass PAQ and willing to participate in my study. They will also be given brief explanation about the testing and time to familiarize with the testing that will be conducted. Participants will randomly divided into 2 groups, which is carbohydrate and placebo without knowing their name. Testing will be begin and the subject will be given the solution carbohydrate rinse or the placebo. And then the data will be collected from each of the participants. The study will confirm the ethical codes set out in the Declaration of Helsinki. The data will be taken. The data that be taken will be further analyzed, and the same subject will do the same testing after washout period from 5 to 7 days by rinsing using the different solution, which means if they have been using the carbohydrate rinse, the next after washout period, they will rinsing with the placebo solution. So the study, the statistical analysis, I used the pair t-test to compare the physiological response of carbohydrate rinse intervention and placebo on varsity athlete toward intense intermittent exercise performance. Analysis will be conducted using GraphPad Prism software with statistical significance that will be accepted. The p-value is less than 0.05. So there are some of lists of my reference for this presentation and my study. And that's all from me. Again, I would like to thank both panel for taking time to listen to my digitalized proposal presentation. Thank you.